So today we are celebrating a man named Dr. Arthur O.E. He is the founder of the EOP program, which he started in 1968, New York. And he made the program for disadvantaged minorities. The program provides access, academic support, supplement financial assistance to students from disadvantaged population. And today we're potting plants to give back to the community like he gave back to the EOP program.
Thank you. So, thank you so much, Shantae. As we know, so like gardening, there is a huge relationship between gardening and life. So when you think about that, how do you think gardening is related to life? Like, can you put any symbolism or metaphors?
You grow as a person.
You grow as a person, yeah. Anybody else?
Everyone starts with a seed.
I like that. Okay, everybody started with a seed. Anybody else? Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so basically, like in life, it's what you make it. And so if you plot the seed correctly and use good soil, you're gonna have like good outcome. But if you don't, it's gonna die. So that's just basically like everybody. So that's how it relates to life to me.
Anybody else want to add? So we got seeds. You gotta take care of yourself, and there comes death. Especially if you don't take care of yourself. But I think even if we do,
Right.
at some point, it may.
And it's a living organism, just like we are. It's living, and breathing, and helping us to grow.
So we go Felicia.
But I think like you put work in and there's an outcome, like you're growing like vegetables and like you get to eat it and share a meal with your family, whatever.
Alright. Yes. So it nourishes us.
I was just gonna say what's similar to Lori. Basically, like plants give us life, and we need to be like give us life and teach us certain things. Like if you ever hear someone taking care of a plant, like you really have to take care of that plant. Like people even say, talk to your plants, like if it was a person. So
I talked to my plants and I named them. Each of my plants have a name. About
I just call mine Sweetie.
For me, I would like to relate this project as the EOP office, okay? As staff, EOP staff, we have our resources, which would be the pot, which would be the soil, which would be the water. And one of the things as EOP staff in this office does is provide these resources. And the students are the plants. Either we starting as the seed or seedlings, which the plants are. So being able to provide the stability and for those students to basically go through 5 years or hopefully 4 or 5 years to get their degree is what this program is about. This is what the person who designed it basically feels about education. And that's what we're here for as an EOP staff, is to provide that resource, the support that you need in order for you to grow. Right now, these pots are basically thin. Once we finish, they're gonna be thin. But within a few months, they're gonna be full. They're gonna be spreading everywhere. So that's how I, feel about the EOP office and the person who's created it, Arthur O.E., as far as the program itself.
come on, sir, and former EOP student
EOP
and
student,
grad
yes.
student and now professional employee staff.
I don't know if I can top what he said, but
I
I
talk
think
a
that
lot, don't worry.
that's okay. So I think that even though each seed is like they might be the same, if you're growing a sunflower, say like perhaps, but each of them grow in their own way. So I think that's very important because we all have something in common. We're all in the EOP program, but we all didn't get here from going through the same things. But we all share like our education in common.
Beautiful.
Yes,
Beautiful.
that
I
individuality.
like that.
You did better than that.
Anybody? Gary?
Anybody out here? Having known Dr. Oeve, having the pleasure of spending time with him, Also, having been one of those first 18 students that came here as a result of the ELP program to the College of Brockport. Yes, I was one of those students who came here in the first ELP program at the College of Brockport. It has been my life work to give back what He's given us as a seed. I'm one of those seeds that has sprouted out to be now at least somewhat of a tree, stable in my life and stable in giving back, which is another thing a plant does, and many plants give back. They give back to others, they sprout others as they grow, they begin to spread out, and you find others coming out from their seedlings or from their actual body. So which is what we're doing, is giving back. So now, in the sharing that expression of love and caring, which is what Dr. E was all about, we're able to do that with these plants.
I like to also think about it, or even myself, I'll say, as water, because when I think about plants and how they need water in order to grow and to thrive, it's a lot of times we're pouring into many of you, whatever that may be, we're pouring into, as well as we pour into each other, and then we have others who are pouring into us. And I think that's very important when it comes to plants, because we know they need water in order to live. And so in order to thrive and in order to grow, and then they also need time, they need patience. But then I also think about the relationship between life, education even, and plants. It's, it helps with teamwork, it helps with responsibility, it helps with bonding and understanding, when you really take your time and focus on a plant and paying attention to it, being observing the plant, and like, is it growing healthy? Is it dry? Does it need something? I think it goes back to what Aya said in regards to individuality and how each plant is going to need its own type of care. And I think that's the important piece. That's what I think about when I think of the plants and the relationship to life. Anyone else want to share?
I got one more thing. I want to go off what you said too, because I think like the pot and the soil, like each plant needs stability and support, and I feel like for us, unlike the other kids, we're fortunate enough to have the EOP program to give us certain support and certain stability and put us on the right track, like the plant needs the soil and needs the pot.
And out of what she said, you see how life, you have to keep growing and keep moving and doing better. And that's what we're doing today. We're giving a plant another place to be, another place to grow, another place to do better.
Yes. The word that just came to me was voice, and how important it is to hear each and every one of your voices. And I think that's the idea of, like, when you mentioned talking to a plant and it hears your sound. And I think it's important for any program, but even just for us in general to thrive, is to hear the sound of each and every one of your voices.
Amen.
So I have 3 questions for you, and then we can get to it.
Get our hands dirty.
Yes. So when you think about the soil, right, and everyone in here knows what fertilizer is.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, how do you fertilize your soil, or do you fertilize your soil? If you think of the symbolism of you as a soil.
I think
Come on.
I think like the way I fertilize it is seeing what I came from, seeing like looking back home, seeing like people still dying every day there, people still in that same exact spot they was in when I left. I think seeing other people's experience and stuff like that gives me more motivation. It gives me some type of fertilizer to keep pushing, to see that I could be that person, but I'm beating the odds and being somebody else.
And you are. Yes. Felicia, snap it.
Yeah,
Anybody else want to add?
That's one of the things that we do. I've dedicated my life to you, all of you, and all those that came before you, and giving back what was given to me. So it's my fertilizer is actually my life. One would think that I was already retired. Many of the alumni call me and say, "You still there?" I say, "Yes," because why? Because you're still here.
So I have another question for you. And the question is, did I water the plants? So when you think about that, how what comes to mind? Did I water the plants?
I talk too much, I'm sorry.
No, please, we need your
I think,
voice.
when I think of like, would you say like, did I water the plants, it's for me, it's, did I do enough, or am I doing enough yet? So like,
Come on.
the way I see it is, did you water the plants, did you study for your test, did you do your homework today, did you do that, like, putting everything in place and perspective to see, are you succeeding in the way that you need to succeed?
Yeah.
You must want a job.
I think it also has to do with yourself. Like, did you take care of yourself? Did you make sure that you're okay? Because many times we forget to take care of ourselves. We forget to water ourselves. Like, not only like, yeah, it's good to have your education and go to work, but it also is good to wind down and spend some time with yourself. Not with other people, with yourself.
Yes.
Because the best way to learn yourself is by yourself.
Anybody else wanna share? All right, I have one more question. Do my roots have space to grow?
Let's go first.
Do your roots have a place to grow?
Do my roots have a place
Do
to
your
grow?
roots have a place to go with?
Yeah, I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
That's all right, that's all right. How about you, young man? Your roots got space to grow? Are you feel you're growing?
Yeah.
All right, how about you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are you growing?
I think so.
I want everybody to give them testimony. Are you growing?
Yeah, I think like growing is just like you don't limit yourself. Like you can believe yourself and like think you can do anything and everything, and just like growing as a person as well.
How about you? You growing?
Yes, I believe I'm growing. I feel like growing, it's a thing that it doesn't have an end point, honestly. It just keeps going and you branch off your roots, they have little branches that keep going and it gets deeper and deeper and it makes you as a person, you know? And it,
Go girl.
you know, it takes a piece of water and fertilizer.
I'm gonna leave for y'all make me bring water. Thank you. Oh my goodness.
The roots are the most delicate part of
That's
the
right.
plant. If the roots aren't growing and flourishing, the plant's not gonna grow.
So I want to go off of you real quick. Also, like, there's one thing. You never get comfortable in where you at. You should always achieve to go higher. So I think that's the same thing with like the plants. You can't leave them in one spot. You have to keep moving them, keep going forward. You can see with Gary how he started at EOP, probably was a counselor for him, and then now he's
Started as a student. I was one of the first students to come in.
Student.
Don't worry about it.
Started as a student, and now he's
Doing this,
the
yeah.
head of the EOP director.
I want to go off what she said too, because I think it's important to recognize like where you started, because where you start is your roots, and your roots are where you're from, what you're used to, your home life and things like that. But although like your parents might not have went to college, you're growing for the rest of your family, and there's no limitation to your growth. So you could get as big as you want to get, and if you keep taking chances, and if you keep allowing yourself to go deeper into your roots and grow, you're gonna flourish and you're gonna become bigger.
There you go, girl.
When you grow too, I think about how sometimes you can outgrow the pot. Like the plant can outgrow
This
the
definitely
pot.
started.
right.
And then you get to the bigger pots and then the bigger pot. And who knows, at some point,
Well,
it
it's-
might be outside
Exactly.
becoming even bigger.
It's
So
like
even think
you
about
don't
that.
limit yourself just to this pot. There's bigger pots out there, so you could be able to basically pot yourself in something bigger, like graduation. Going to grad school, going to get your PhD, going for that job that you may have felt a little bit that you probably was not prepared for, but just taking that shot, right, to go do that. So yes, that is very important. Don't limit yourself to just one place. Always look for bigger opportunities for yourself.
Because if you don't, the roots
Go ahead, man.
will suffocate.
That's right.
And
Go
then
ahead.
when the
I was
roots
just gonna say,
suffocate,
don't be
die.
like, don't be scared to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, because
That's it.
you have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
So he was coming with something good.
And
Yes.
another thing about roots is that never forget that there was people before you to allow you to get to this position right here. And as long as you know your history, know where you come from, you'll never get lost in the future. You'll always know where to settle.
Just to go a little bit on top of what I was speaking about is how plants also give back to themselves. Like they plant their own seeds by like the pollen and stuff, and that's what we need to do to help others grow.
That made me think of the spider plants and how they grow babies.
Yeah.
And you take the babies of the spider plant.
Like this.
Yeah, and it has babies, and so you can then take the babies and plant new
Yeah, but
plants
this
to
was
bring them
from
out.
a mother
So
plant.
it spreads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the mother plant is,
Can we do something
Yes.
cool where we have like everybody get together and say like we are EOP, something like that?
okay.
Wait.
Wait a minute, hold it.
Wait 1 second, because then we can transition. So I want to, there's 5 statements that was found, and I just want you to think about them, and then we can transition to do that group picture, which we need, by the way. So if you spend your time with people that don't inspire or encourage you, your growth will quickly run into a wall. Crucial improvements are learned when we take advice from the right people. That's why it's important to audit those we allow in. So each plant has specific directions of how it needs to be taken care of, just as we are the same. Ultimately, the decisions we make have tremendous impact on our future. How you treat your plant is gonna determine how it's gonna grow, or not grow for that matter, into the future. Life is like a garden, and the only way to test its potential is by reflecting as much as you can. I think it's easy to want to blame people or circumstances for how our lives unfold, but when you take a serious look around, you have a lot more control than you think. Plants grow differently. We talked about this. Many of y'all have spoken of this. You'll never be able to fully predict when certain things or events will happen. What you can control, however, is how you react to the changes that life throws your way. So we starting with these plants, but we don't know how they're gonna flourish. Some may flourish to the right, some might lean a little bit to the left, some may grow straight up. We have no idea, but we just keep continuing to nourish it and give it nurturance as it grows. And then lastly, the only person capable of caring for your garden is you. That's why it's important to plan properly, take responsibility for what you grow.
How you
So thank you all for participating. Let's take our
Come on,
picture.
man, we're gonna take this picture. Come on, buddy.